What's going on, Book Bar?
Hey, what's up?
This is special, isn't it? Yeah. Thank you, Monique, for putting this together for us, inviting us up, hosting us. And thank you for all y'all for coming out. And I love when there's an open mic. I really appreciate folk getting up and sharing and all that. It really helps like set the mood, set the tone, all that. Kevin was already in town. Kevin's in town. We just opened this play that we co-wrote called This Is Modern Art, which premiered first in Chicago a couple years ago. And then since I've been living here in Colorado, the wonderful people at the Denver Center said, yeah, we'll produce this play and you can direct it too. And so that's been a really great experience, and I definitely encourage you all to check it out. It's really a lot of fun. Kevin and I really enjoyed working on it, and so I figured, since we just put this book out as well, why not try to do a reading as well? Then Kev's going to teach with me in Colorado College all next week. So we are definitely getting the most out of Kevin Coval here in Colorado, and he's been so gracious to take the time out because he's a very busy guy. So real quick, just want to set up this book a little bit before we just jump into it. I mean, really just Kevin and I are always looking for opportunities to collaborate, and we just, kind of just started going back and forth on Dominque Wilkins. Now, I got to explain this for those of you who may not know who Dominque Wilkins is, which is probably like 85% of you.
At least.
Yeah, at least, if not more. All you need to know is that in 1988, there was an epic, historic dunk contest. You guys know what the slam dunk is, right? Okay, all right. So we can at least, all right, I'm just going to explain anyway. The slam dunk is when the player takes the basketball and jumps off the ground and just stuffs it in the rim. Buyout. Very dynamic, very, very explosive, and kind of like an exclamation point in the game.
Best play in sports.
Best play in sports, right? And so Michael Jordan, we all know who Michael Jordan is. Michael Jordan kind of became is one of the, if not, arguably one of the greatest basketball players of all time. Certainly the most marketed and advertised. And so in '88, Dominque Wilkins and Michael Jordan battled it out. And this is like the beginning of the Jordan, the beginning of the Jordan mythology. And it was an amazing battle. It was like back and forth. It was like listening to two great jazz musicians go back and forth. If you watch the video, clearly Dominque won, but the judges gave it to Mike, and very shortly after that, Michael Jordan explodes as this figure. So we wanted to pay tribute to Dominque because he, again, from just being this artist of basketball, was also kind of robbed and wronged. And so we started with that, and then of course now the book goes in all sorts of directions as well. So all that to say, it's okay if you don't know a lot about basketball. All you need to know is who Dominque Wilkins was. And speaking of basketball, we just saw him. Yeah, we met him, by the way. We were at the All-Star weekend in LA, and we just randomly found out he was like right down the street from us, speaking at like a Foot Locker or something with James Worthy from the Lakers. And we bum rushed that whole thing, and we managed to get a picture with him holding the book, just like confused, like what is going on? We were like, take the picture, man, hurry up, take the picture. Like Dominque, like yeah. So it's official tissue. It's Dominque approved. So anyway, I think that's all they need to know. Let's do the damn thing. Oh, really quickly, does anybody know who won the Duke-Kansas game? Kansas won. Team. All right. So this piece is called hold on, let me. You got a napkin? Another napkin over there? Gotta spit out your gum. 101.
Yeah, poach it.
Here we go. This is called Of the Lord. Dominque means of the Lord. Latin rooted, French, black like Haiti. We like our names with peaks, slopes, and vowels. We like our names to be aerial and oral, throat and teeth and tongue. Our names gotta be songs. Serena, Beyonce, Kobe, Kareem, LeBron, Abdul, Kyrie, Toussaint, Andre, Kanye, Rashawn. Names that melt resumes. Draymond, DeAndre, Desiree, names that make black conservatives turtle shell into shame. Shanice, Latisse, Lashana, Latoya, Kamani, names that disrupt the roll call. Marshawn, Aaliyah, Malik, Laila, Idris. We like our names like the names in holy books, names that point to the world's faiths coalesced here on this stolen continent. The whole lexicon, the field, court, globe, palmed, but not dominated. Give us onomatopoeia names, names with naps, names that's laid, that give shade, names that glide like Clyde, that fly like MJ sliding over the stars on Motown 25, names with wings of predator birds, names like Dominque. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you all for being here, and thank you Book Bar for being an independent bookstore in an age of Amazon. Let's make sure that we continue to support independent bookstores so independent ideas can flourish and we don't fall prey to the monolith. And thank you for organizing, Monica. So, you know, it wasn't too long ago where you couldn't dunk in college basketball. It also wasn't too long ago where you couldn't have black players on a team. It also wasn't too long ago where you could only have like one black athlete on the court at one time. That was like not too long ago. So this is the year the dunk was outlawed. It starts with a quote. To stop the 6'2" brothers who could dazzle the crowd and embarrass much bigger white kids, they took it away. Hunter College coach Robert Bowens in 1967, the year the dunk was outlawed. UCLA was 30-0, and Lou Alcindor had the wingspan of a pterodactyl. In the following summer, he'd boycott the Olympics and take Shahada to convert to Islam. And the year before, Bobby Seale and Huey Newton met in a bakery, and Texas Western beat Kentucky, and the specter of black excellence dotted the TV, and America got a glimpse of what an equitable playing field might begin to look like. And all the Fog Allens and Babe Ruths went into the hysteria that builds prisons and creates myopic mirages of shiny objects and hands that hold air, and continued policing black joy. No crossing the feet, no end zone dancing, no fun bunch or Kalinda Chance or Homer Jones Spike, no Meadowlark Lemon. The ball was crystal, a peek at reparations, a fear of a planet black and meritocratic. The band prophetic, announcing an Afro future, a yoke on the admiral, a tomahawk on bird, every white center a poster, in a posterized insult. This kind of fly, a defiance, a flight risk. The league, COINTELPRO will try to ground, will grave the gravity of the situation, a temporary censor of the human highlights yet to come.
Fun fact, y'all. The first slam dunk contest. So every year, let me just back it up. So every year during the All-Star Game, the All-Star Game is when all the best players from all the teams from the Eastern Conference and the Western Conference, they form one super like Avengers team and they go head to head. It's like Captain America Civil War, but with basketball players. And during that weekend, there's also like, you know, like it's like a little mini Olympics. It's like tests of skill. So there's a 3-point contest, and then of course, the most popular is the slam dunk contest. Fun fact, the first slam dunk contest was held in Colorado. The first slam dunk contest was held in Colorado. Olympians learned to breathe here. The altitude high like the Air Force and the God-fearing thousands. Here where air thin, sky blue smeared white and black noise barely tolerated. So it's fitting, the dunk being what it is, improvisation on a tightrope, so thin, barely visible. The ground uneven here, where glares are not knives but worse, where conversations veer on black tops, morph racial within minutes. Here where I improvise, contort, slide, make it in by hell's height. Mere millimeters, as I consider the velocity, the power, consider the impact, and try to do it all with flair, with elegance, with poise, but enough grit to be memorable. Here, where my presence, undeniable, neither grounded, in flight, always suspended, mid-air, conscious of the spectators, pondering every judge's verdict.
Yeah, man. Dominique was, is still actually like super smooth. You know what I mean? Like a very cool dude. And I played ball in the day, and like a lot of young people, you look to your heroes, you're like, oh dang, if Dominique wears this kind of sneaker, maybe I want to wear this kind of sneaker. Dominique at various stages of his career also had a flat top fade. And so like a lot of white boys, you try out various things, you're like, oh damn, that don't work too well on me. So that's like most of my childhood, but we tried. I mean, and so this is about, there's a poem in the book called The Flat Top. It's an ode to that haircut. This is the following poem called The Kyle Garmin. On Shermer Road, the only non-quick cut, not in a strip mall nor salon spot to get a straight razor and bald fade was Tom and Rich's. Tom and Rich were both old and white, at least seemingly old to me. Both served in the military, were proficient in shearing a man's head with a blade, wore gray smocks and smelled like Marlboro men, thinning hair slicked over with pomade. In the 91-92 season, Kyle Garmin was the coolest kid in Glenbrook North. 3-letter varsity athlete, quarterback, and captain of the basketball team. His senior year, he scored impossible last-second buckets in back-to-back games to send us to super sectionals, the last 16 teams standing in the ill state. Kyle would get a high-top bald fade in the first chair at Tom and Rich's. His blonde curls corkscrewed atop his head like a golden crown, so cold we just started to ask for it. The Kyle Garmin. A mess of floppy, thin-haired white boys trying to get it right. My own dome wavy enough to muster a stand with a little bit of gel. We were nowhere near as cool as Kyle, and leagues away from Dennis Rodman, David Robinson, Kenny Skywalker, Radio Raheem, and even Jamar, the 7-1 transfer student, one of 2 black dudes on the team, lonely in a sea of white boys. Jamar really wanted to play cello to the chagrin of both his parents and our angry coach. We were all forced into some box, some small plateau vision of the future, a life of middle management. I lived across the street from Tom and Rich's, behind the White Hen, in a row home, my front yard, a parking lot. I'd stand outside for hours and practice dribbling a ball or pen, wanting to get good enough at something for long enough to leave.
Yeah, real talk. It really resonated, the piece you read, Monique, about being in the box and everything like that. And so that was interesting too when you were talking about it too. And I think I don't know, man. I think that's I don't know if is that ever gonna stop? I don't know. I would like to be more optimistic, but speaking of boxes and myths, I'll tell you this: I had a fabulous high top fade back in the day in the 80s and early 90s, if you can believe that. As you look at my shining head, I once had a little black crown up there of coiled hair. But I've always been a huge fan of basketball. And it kills me to this day that I cannot play, because while I do not believe that just African Americans are innately have an innate proficiency to play basketball, this particular African American really wished it was true, because I still want to be good at basketball. I still think I have a shot. That's the sad thing about it. I'm 40 years old and I'm like, I'm just going to keep doing this writing, teaching thing till the scouts come and they see like an old OG can still throw it down. I got eligibility, yeah. And so, but I mean, one of the jobs of writers, I think, is to expand upon and challenge myths and expand upon the truth and, say certain things are true, but it's not just this, it's also this and these other things, and myth busting, myth confirming, and myth expansion. So this is called Ode to the Extra Muscle in Black People's Legs that allegedly makes them better at sports. You remind us how susceptible we be to the manufacture of myth. When inventive scholars exercise inside phantom journals, stir cauldrons bottomless, melt down stereotypes into chocolate fondue. Pre-information age, Google was just a confident inflection. Flex. All them bricks piled underneath the driveway hoop in our suburban 4-bed house is evidence it ain't true. Release. I don't remember who first told me, but likely he was echoing a father or grandfather or uncle or some other kid from our town of occasional blacks. Likely while watching a Jersey soar or marathon men of motherland on the televised Olympics. Flex. It couldn't be the twice as hard for half as much theory, but rather an X-Man mutation, because how else? Release. Searching for your origin, I find some believers who still maintain your existence. No, assure it. Because there was this one time they saw this cloud of a black man, or because they came in 5th place, or they were left dripping in the gray rain, weakly gripping flaccid flowers. Flex. On cotton and football fields, kangaroo and basketball court, flee or fight, either one, all of it performed in style. Release. Is there some kind of advantage? Hell yeah. But it ain't rise on no rested knees.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Okay. Cool. You guys good? Yeah. Okay, 3 of you are. That's good.
That was not a confident yeah.
Yeah. No, they were like, I don't know. Damn, maybe we're not.
I like this chair. It's fun.
yeah.
It's a good chair.
Cool. Are you guys good?
Yeah.
Most importantly. Okay. All right. I see. I'm getting a nod. I feel you. Okay. All right.
He's over here like, wow.
Yeah. Okay. That's what's up.
Are we gonna do be honest though?
Yeah, we'll end with that. All right, so this poem's not in the book, but it is a lot. I've known Idris for a long time, and I'm writing about that time in my life in a particular neighborhood in Chicago that we met in, and we get asked, how we met a lot. We've been working together for a long time, and so I wrote this this week here because we're hanging out again. I'm like, oh yeah, that's how. It's called How I Met Idris, the remix. When a girl says, I have another friend who likes hip hop, you steadily suspicious and think dude probably corny for absolutely no good reason except masculinity a toxin, and you on guard for whackness like a vampire killer. In the era hip-hop's underground at war with the empire and moving to strip malls and pop charts, and true, no one knighted you a Lancelot for the culture, but strictly hardcore heads ward off clown-ass mugs like the plague. But she stay at you and is your homegirl after all, and eventually there's a house party. Probably for her born day, and our man's Itch 13 is spinning records at the crib, which is live, not acid of the punch live, though the shit's definitely spiked. Lots of young artists and nonprofit change the world types, politicking at the end of the millennia when the black Frank White was still alive. Via Itch's hands, and the first time he utters and the bottom of the record funk drops the spot, and the whole body bounces up by the second and dudes is mad I get more butt than ashtrays, my head raised for the first time that night. Scouring the room for anyone to co-sign the joyousness, the DJ, Craig Mack, even Diddy, and especially the heavily breathed poet Christopher Wallace, all still animated, East Coast stomping and mean mugging the country brings to our modest Saturday night turn-up. And sure enough, I see this other dude's eyes recognized in the living room. In a sea of heads bent, another head popped up at the bat signal. Same nod, same bat time. We probably mouthed the whole verse when most rappers we knew and B.I.G. was still breathing, and we were young enough to be still gathering brothers everlasting like the toe on Pro Keds.
I have no poems about Kevin, man. Yeah, but he's the best, though. Yeah, true story, though. True story. That's like literally what happened. Like, yeah, our friend that he talked to, the homegirl in there, was like, yeah, my friend Kevin, he's a writer and he likes hip hop. And I was like, It's like, man, fat dude, man, face.
Not the nicest me, man.
It's like, yeah, you might have made something rhyme before. My grandma can rhyme. True story. What's really sad too? I was thinking about. So that song that Kevin's referencing is a Flavor in Your Ear remix, featuring but 2 of those guys are gone, man. Craig Mack and Notorious B.I.G. gone. Yeah. And LL Cool J don't even rap no more. Yeah. I mean, so that's like. All right, sorry. Back to basketball. Just because I have no poem, I didn't give me a chance. Like he wrote the poem like a few days ago. So don't be like, man, that's fucked up. You don't need like that's an unequal distribution of. Anyway, here we go. This is called The Meaning of the Dunk. It starts with a quote from Michael Jordan talking about Dominque Wilkins. Unbelievable creativity type of player. We didn't invent it, but we evolved it. Like the woodwind, the turntable, the grind, the dance floor. The blacktop lab for physics, bioscience, for thermodynamics, linguistic alchemy. The dunk, the flashback to the playgrounds where bodies become heroic, leaping across the canyon. They can't stop, they can only hope to contain. The dunk, a fissure in time, a flashbulb, a call to celebrate, a Juneteenth jubilee contained, elegance, airlessness, the crowd holding its breath in anticipation before the timpani, boom, the outlawed, boom, the percussion live in the balls of feet, the squeak of sneaker prelude before liftoff, and here come that boom, televised in real time. Can't take it back, can't apologize. In your face, we taught the whole world to boom. Send reverbs, echoes through space. The dunk, science fiction. The dunk, disruption. Volcano in the ebb and flow of regularly scheduled function. It's the solo. Praise Bill Russell, Louis Armstrong, Wilt Chamberlain, Mingus, Dr. J, Dizzy, Dominique, Miles Davis, notes floating free through space, your eyes on the body, the slow-mo canvas, dark and red from the baseline. Michael Jordan, Coltrane, Spud Webb, Art Blakey, Rim Shot, Daryl Dawkins, Cannonball, Shaquille O'Neal, George Clinton, the falling plexiglass showering over the heads, baptizing the court, christening the court, under the jumbo screen's watchful eye. Praise all the artists of air, the dunk, freestyle cipher, display of airlessness, limitless, crafty, Brer Rabbit, snatch, grab, a riddle, hallelujah, declaration, I am a man, not a boy, I am alive and defiant, a hero, I make deals with gravity, I rise and fall, the rim, the backboard, the game ain't over but my name, reverb, the dunk is my signature.
We got two more poems, and we have a whole little run of odes to particular kinds of dunks, you know. And so in there, I think we talk about the tomahawk, the windmill, the alley-oop, and then this is 360. And I feel like I could say this because I'm in a bookstore. A lot of palindromes in this poem. Word up to palindromes.
Wow. Too soon?
Not soon enough. 360. Madam, I'm Adam. This eve in the garden, Vince Carter in Madison Square. Pardon, I'm Atlas in air. Sky high on the shoulder of boulder, my solos are perfect. 8s, 180. One more again. Simpletons posterized by Jason Richardson. Wow, mom. High flying, defiant. Kobe Bryant, a hop spot. New level lieutenant, I'm in. The atmosphere, my gym. Like him or not. Don't nod in the hop. Scotch pop shots. Knock, knock. Who's there? Rotator in air. Born disease. Make the world unease. It's easy E. Check the stats. They're stacked. Nicki Minaj, that's a Drake bar. Back to back. Oh man, oh man. Under the radar, a Mac. Make a Meek Mill at noon. Back to bang at it, gyrations a habit. Damn it, I'm mad. Addict I whirl. Dervish to service this saga. Impervious purpose, not Ralph Ellison's world. Invisible man, able I'm seen. Kane's a maniac, my cranium's magic. 1520 Sedgwick. Herc's merry-go-round. The body and axis, double helix, a karmic principle made flesh. Fresh, what goes around comes back around again tonight in the garden. Madam, I'm Adam. Cool. All right, we got one more joint for y'all. Thank you guys so much. Thank you for organizing. Thank you for being here. Thank you for all the open mic poets. Make some noise for everybody who touched the mic tonight.
And our good friends at Book Bar are set up to sell these books for us. If you're interested in taking one home with you, they're not. They're really not there. It's just like whatever. Yeah, we'll hang out or and.
Have a beverage?
Yeah, we'll have a beverage. And I think we're gonna, and also too, like, I think we're gonna record all these poems this week too. So we're gonna. Oh, what's up, man? I think we're gonna do like a little audio book version of this too. So stay tuned.
Dope.
All right.
Cool.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Feel good?
Yeah, yeah.
I'm having a blast.
Me too. It's fun.
Yeah. All right. Here we
You're
go.
doing great.
Thanks, man. You doing all right too. Okay. You could have said more about me though. I think.
Man, I was really nervous to meet him, man. He's so cool. Man, I just saw this dude. I'm like, wow, man, these sneakers
How
is
can I
clean.
be like that, man? Anyway, get it. Let's
Anyway,
do it.
TBH and assist. 1. I'm not saying it was a conspiracy. Some home cooking sending air to orbit, a brand rocket launched. It's facts, his grace cockpit from the foul line, more iconic than Neil Armstrong's walk. I mean, Mike flew. His sneaks dangling above our head like the price tag we were smart enough not to even ask moms about. But check the technique. Dominque a thunderclap, rim rattler, vanguard, band leader, dancer, Dixon, Rudolph, the screws off, the backboard, black sores, sinews, wave crash on the hard court below. Keep us high, electric wide, we stepped inside the mess, bent to glide. Clyde Frazier, juice on loan for a generation like the rest was rent to buy. Judges bugging, I mean, pests aside, you threw up a W like the western side. The best of guys hopped the train and shy, looked inside the closing doors and took the L in stride. Mike the GOAT, and like you slashing to the rim, these are facts you can't deny. And I got all sorts of hometown Midwest pride, but to see you fly, mystique on fleek, a miracle like the Cubs won, but Dominique, let's keep it a buck like Cindy Moncrief. The dunk contest is dumb fun, but TBH, 88 All-Star Game Weekend, G, you won.
2. One hand clutching one sphere and no fear. Transcending years, you won. Scores is just numbers. The performance, timeless. I show my son them 88 clips, and when his inner light flips, time slips into future, past and present. I can't play at all. Been shooting 30 years, but still the ball veers, and still there's this voice that spills possibility. One day I will be bird accurate. Every time the sneakers squeeze these flat feet and my son follows me to the driveway where we attempt leap and pass. Time passes rhymes of our heroes. We ain't trying to be. We are making highlights between us. When I lift him to the hoop to dunk, I am him and he is me. We are one. Thank you very much. Appreciate you.